On the 8th of August this year, 2011, in Hackney, some of our community got caught up and took part in disturbances that can be described as rioting and looting. This is what young people have to say about it. What do you think the causes were? Why do you think it happened?
I think it was frustration, because for some people, they were poor, poverty, they were living in poverty.
A lot of people are desperate right now, and they are taking away a lot of opportunities, jobs, they're cutting everything that can give you money. And to be honest, when an opportunity like that arises, everyone is going to take it because they do actually need the stuff. Well, they don't need it, but with all that consumerism, materialistic sort of peer pressure, all that stuff, it draws a lot of people in and presents situations like this.
I think it happened because people took advantage of the situation, and I think that maybe if the police had a bit more, if they were allowed to do a bit more, then I think that it would have been controlled quicker. It wouldn't have got as far as it did.
I think there are only really a few reasons why the riot started, and that includes a lot of tension in the community due to poverty, due to cuts. And I think what really kick-started it was the shooting of the young man in Tottenham. And I think that caused a small group of people to want to retaliate. And because of that, people felt pressured to join in, and they felt that they could they felt they could get away with it. And I think it's a mix of just frustration and also want for material goods that led people to actually just take to the streets and loot and just cause chaos.
I think the reason why the riot sort of continued was because the media was literally showing footage of where everybody was and what was going on. And also from this footage, the police had no control over anybody. So you was getting away with things, and like no one was seeing any punishments. So therefore people sort of thought, well, I'm going to get away with it. So it's kind of an opportunity for me to do it and get away with it.
Majority of the young people that was involved was only involved in it based on like peer pressure. Because obviously like the friends are involved and they're just feeling like they're missing out on something. And then like within like the older lot, I feel just like you said, frustration, unemployment, maybe like previous like grudges on the police and stuff. So it's like a way of getting to like the police. And obviously there's like 3 items, like why not, like if my friends could get this, why can't I?
Who was involved?
Well, when I was watching the news, I saw a lot more, I actually saw quite a lot of white adults, and they were saying that it's all black youths. They were saying that when you're looking at like Mare Street, what predominantly black areas, that of course you're gonna get more black people. And to be honest, yeah, the amount of youths when I saw was actually, it wasn't even that much in comparison to how many adults I saw.
Yeah, I think it was everyone. Yeah, it was youngers and adults, but I think adults here, they took the advantage.
I think it was just ridiculous how they portrayed everything, and how they mainly targeted the youth. That was doing it when, you know, when you actually watch closely, there are people there that are of all different ages, all different races and stuff like that.
How has the community been affected?
Yeah, I don't really feel that anything's been affected. It's still the same like how it was beforehand. I ain't seen no changes or nothing.
In terms of like the streets, like nothing really has changed, because, you know, like there were obviously people of gang culture out rioting, and like these members have always been there, and you know, even before and after the rioting, you know, they've been out causing trouble, doing what they do, and you know, it's had a negative effect on our communities anyway. And gang culture has been around for many years. But in terms of like people's livelihoods being ruined and stuff like that, I think they have been massive changes to people's lives, because obviously you've lost your business, you've lost your probably main source of income, and now what do you do now? You've lost your business, you've lost your livelihood. What's the next step really?
The only change I can think of is the amount of people who rioted, who were sent to prison or otherwise had legal action taken against them. They're off the streets now, but who knows what might happen. They could re-offend, because they could be put in an even worse position by being in prison for a long time and then being released and not having employment, having a criminal record. I just don't understand how these people are really going to reintegrate I think it could happen again if we don't see some sort of investment or improvement for opportunities of young people.
The days sort of after the riots, I think the majority of the community was sort of saddened, especially through the loss of businesses and some of the damage that was left behind. But in terms of now, I think a lot of people are kind of just sick and tired of talking about the riots.
Do you think it could happen again?
To be honest, now everyone knowing that it is actually quite easily possible for everyone to get together and start like rioting and stuff like that. They haven't actually got the manpower to stop us. So now that's in people's heads, I reckon definitely it's gonna happen again one day. Like, the only reason they weren't able to control it is because they sent 16,000 down here. And then, to be honest, as soon as everyone heard that, no one went out, because obviously you're just gonna get caught.
I personally don't think it will happen because it's happened once, and the police will sort of know what to do if it happens again. And the government can sometimes be quite cruel. So I think if it happened again, they'll just take drastic measures and do whatever it takes to ensure that it stops there and then.
You saw similar incidents sort of happen, 25 years ago with this Cynthia Jackson Broadwater Farm thing. So you can't, it's not possible to say, oh, it's going to happen again, it's not going to happen again. If relationships in the community continue to break down, then there is a chance that similar incidents will happen again. I also think that under the current government, we was under a Conservative government when the Cynthia Jackson incidents started, sort of all the riots, and once again it's a Conservative government that we're under whilst the Mark Duggan sort of similar things happen. So obviously there's clearly something wrong with the government.
Riots like these and gang culture are both very old things. They've been around for hundreds of years, and they've always just arisen when the government has, or the authorities have not provided the sort of things that young people need to get into society and integrate. And I think if the government continues to do cuts and all this sort of thing, then it will happen again. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, the government can do a lot to prevent this sort of thing.
What do you think should happen now?
For youth here, they should get involved in activities, sports.
I just think that the government should make more opportunities for people to do things in their community, to bring the community together also.
Basically, anyone that sort of got criminal charges for something to do with their community should then have to go back into their community and help rebuild it and actually see the damage that they've done. Because, I mean, it might not work, but hopefully some people sort of have a conscience and think, oh, I'm not going to do it again.
As young people, I don't think we are heard, but you know, there are ways that we can be heard, so we have to use any way possible so that we can be, that's obviously legal and, you know, it's not causing any destruction to anyone else, but, you know, there are ways for us to be heard, so I think we should use those ways and stand up and be heard and be proud of who we are and where we come from.
I feel that young people, and honest people in general, need to see the value in life and their community, because once you ostracise people based on things that they might feel that they have little control over, such as their grades in their GCSEs, for example, then they'll start to alienate themselves, and that's when you get this sort of gang culture sort of stuff, and then inevitably it gets worse and worse until you get this sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's just integrating everyone rather than alienating them. That's what we need to do.
Hopefully that this won't happen again. We'll be able to prevent it from happening again, and that everybody in the society will be able to get along better. Like both our older people in the police and younger people.
Stuff like this isn't going to happen, and if the government don't step out of line, this is a democratic society after all, and if they're not listening to the majority of the people, then the majority of the people are just gonna say no because they can, and they'll do stuff like rioting and stuff like that. So if they actually took in like the feelings and what people actually have to say about these sort of situations, then I reckon everyone would be a lot happier, or at least the majority would be.
But counsellors, instead of sending other people to do their work or find out information from young people for us so that we can do all this research with it, you come out and actually do it yourself for once. don't, instead of sending other people to do your job, you get out there and you meet young people, you meet community residents, you go and meet people, and actually, instead of just going, yes, we've taken it on board, and then do nothing, actually do something for once, because that then will build up relationships within the councillors and because at the end of the day, like, it is down to the councillors, it is down to Hackney councillors and their wardens, whatever, because they're the ones that immediately can have effect. So they need to be the ones that actually go, well, yeah, we're going to listen and we're going to do something.